Good evening, everybody. Huge Pop on the Huge Pop Entertainment with my boy Rudy Gonzalez. We are going to talk everything cool that happened in 2025 all throughout wrestling and with a little bit of a thank you at the end. Man, Rudy, how's it going tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm recovering from Christmas.
Right. Christmas. That was a mess, man. That was a whole lot of stuff. And man, family and gift opening and all the good stuff. But we survived. So
We just stayed home and I watched some football games. I saw Dallas Cowboys beat. I don't remember who they beat. I haven't really kept up with them this year. Opened some presents and just stayed home, man. Here in San Antonio, I don't know about Florida, but here in San Antonio, it was 80 degrees. So it was Christmas, but it didn't feel like Christmas, you know?
right. 74, 75. So yeah. So a bunch of same kind of thing. Yeah. So we just did the same thing. We had our foster kids. We gave them, they had a bunch of gifts. The community was amazing. And I like the community that we live around that support us, the foster kids. It's just amazing to see in Fort Walton Beach here. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy year. Tonight's show, man, Rudy hit me up and said we got to do a show and we're going to talk about the hot moments or the big moments or the moments of 2025. And there was a lot of them, man. There was quite a few, and
Yeah, there was. It was.
man,
I guess we can start with. We started the year off with Psycho Stu. Remember that?
yeah, dude, yes. Psycho Stu, man. Wow. That
That was
was
crazy.
that was crazy. That was crazy.
And
Now, is Psycho Stu,
I'm not
he's
sure
that
what's going on with those guys, but go ahead.
no, I might get this. I might be getting this wrong. Psycho Stu, is he the micro wrestler?
No. Psycho Stu was so early part of this year, maybe the end of last year. Rikishi and his promotion
Yes,
had
yes.
they had a show, and Raja Jackson, who is Rampage Jackson's son, was
Yes.
a
Yep.
guest,
Yep.
and I guess he does a lot of social media content and stuff. And so he went to the show looking to put on, to get some content for his TikTok or YouTube or whatever it was.
Yep.
And
Uh-huh.
so he's in the dressing room, and right away, Psycho Stu, confronts him,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it just took off from there, man. It just Stu hit him with a beer can, on the side of the
Yep.
head, and it was rigged. It wasn't rigged, or whatever whatever. And then a big commotion happened in the back, and so they talked Raja into getting in the ring to get his payback, his receipt for
Yep.
the beer can deal, and apparently one of his buddies egged him on to, you know, lay it in on him and to get his revenge or whatever. And keep in mind, Raja is not one of he's not one of us. He's not one of the boys. He's not a trained wrestler. He's not. So he has no clue. So he's getting mixed signals. He was told it was all BS or whatever. And then someone else is telling him, go get your receipt, go get your revenge. So this guy has no idea what's going on. So he goes in there and he lays his stuff in on a gentleman named Psycho Stu, who what I understand is a veteran up in, I guess, California or wherever they're from.
Yeah.
And he got beat up. He did Raja did a number on him. And so I guess charges have been pressed and lawsuits and all this other stuff. The bad part about it, well, I mean, it's all bad, but from my perspective, the bad part about it was Rikishi's promotion, and I guess a couple of months before they were just named as a WWE ID school.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yep.
And so right away that got pulled out from under their feet. And
right.
So I mean, everything else is kind of like his fault, your fault, their fault, da. But all that affected the whole deal. Rikishi is no longer. Yeah, they're no longer affiliated with WWE, and that like they were, and so that doesn't just hurt the promotion; it hurts, or it doesn't just hurt the school, but it hurts the other students that are there that are
right.
They have nothing to do with it, and they, so that kind of forces them to. I mean, they're stuck there, or they just go somewhere else, if they want to continue that dream, Right. Meanwhile, you have a veteran who really, in my opinion, should have known better, because the kid Raja didn't know. He didn't know. He's not one of, like I said, he's not one of us. He's not one of. He had no idea. In fact, they even after he did the beer can deal, somebody mentioned to him, he's not one of the boys, man. He's not. He doesn't know, and so it put Raja in a bad spot. He felt the need to protect himself, and
right.
or his name anyway, and it was just a big mess all the way around. If it was me, I would just put both guys in the room with Rikishi or whoever, and just settle it.
Right.
Squash it, apologize.
Yep.
Let's move on.
And no disrespect to Rikishi, because I don't know if he's a friend of yours or not. That's the second time he was in the news in social media like this, because when Jay lost the belt, he got so pissed. And he went off on a social media rant about how WWE did Jey Uso wrong, that's my boy and he has every right to be mad. And I always thought that was a work, but as I'm reading social media and stuff, that's nothing close to a work. He was slightly upset about that. Sure. And everybody has their right to their own opinion. Everybody has their right to freedom of speech, and that's his boy. So of course, but you're in the business, you're a promoter, you're a man, you've been into wrestling in the business. Isn't there a place though, Rudy, that we have to watch what we say to keep our what's the word I'm looking for? The respect for people to have for us, though?
Should be, yes. I mean, and that's I've talked this over with other people as well. We've just lost that. Wrestling has become so open. Even the guys that have been around for a long time, like myself, like Rikishi and Mick Foley and all the other guys, it's at one time it was, like you said, we talk about certain things amongst ourselves, and solve things that way. And believe me, there have been times where I sat in a dressing room and I saw decisions made that maybe some guys weren't happy with, and the arguments were held in the dressing room, or the people went to another room and closed the door. You could still hear them shouting and stuff, or or whatever, but the fans never knew, you know,
Right.
and that's just how things have changed now. But yeah, no, you're right, and that's part of the problem that, in my opinion, that wrestling has today is that we're just too open now, and and I'm not faulting Rikishi. I mean, that's his
No,
son.
that's the son. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean now you see Deion Sanders defending Shador, because
Yes.
he wasn't drafted high enough.
Yep.
You see, back in years ago, you saw Archie Manning
Yep.
declare on you know the sports guys, if this team drafts my son, Peyton, or Eli, if
Yeah.
this team drafts Eli, we're not going to play for him. And
Right.
it's not Archie being a jerk or nothing. He just wants what's best for his son,
Right. LeBron James, Bronny, those guys.
Yes, exactly,
Yes. Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
In wrestling, it's a little bit, we should be anyway. We should be a little bit more protected with stuff like that. But I mean, I see it. I can understand Rikishi getting off, getting mad the way he did, and stuff like that. And we have social media, so yeah, he's gonna voice his opinion on his social media stuff.
Yep. No, man, we started the year Netflix. Everybody remember that?
So how much did Netflix pay TKO or WWE to be on their deal?
I have no clue. Not a,
I think it was in the billions.
yeah.
So years ago, back to back in the day, years ago, Joe Blanchard paid the USA Network. I think it was like $7,000 a week or $10,000 a week to air
Okay.
Southwest Championship Wrestling on USA. Joe Blanchard, the promoter, was paying the network to be on USA. And back in the day, that's how it was. Whenever you saw your local wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling, whatever, they were paying the TV stations to air their product.
Right.
Um, it was, I mean, and so today, what is it? I've been in the wrestling business for 40, 43 years,
Okay.
and it's unheard of. When I heard that Netflix was paying TKO or WWE or whoever to air wrestling on Netflix, and like I said, I think it was in the billions. That just blew my mind because
Yeah.
never, Joe Blanchard is paying 10,000, and now years later, the network is paying the promoters billions of dollars. That's crazy.
That's
But that
crazy.
just shows how far we've come in the wrestling business. That just shows how far we've come along.
Oh yeah. If I remember right, there were some glitches. I don't think they were prepared for it, and on my end it buffered and buffered and buffered and buffered. And if you have that big of a platform, and you knew you were going to be having that many fans, because the fan base for wrestling is outrageous, and then you're not prepared on the first episode on Netflix, and I don't know now TKO and Netflix, they aren't doing as well as they thought they would. Surprise, surprise. And now they're struggling, man. That's what I heard a little bit ago, like a month ago, that they're not making what they thought they'd make.
Yeah, it's I think I don't know this for fact. I don't look up numbers and stuff like that. I just go by what I see. But I think it might be just oversaturation.
Yeah.
Um, you can see wrestling. Again, here we go. Back in my day, you saw wrestling Saturdays on TBS,
Yep.
and your local wrestling show was on Friday or Saturday nights,
Yep.
and and then that was it, really. I mean, and then WWF got USA Wrestling, and then they came on Sunday mornings, I think, and then there was Saturday Night Main Event, and then there was pay per views, and then there were, and slowly but surely, we've just been coming. There was Monday Night Raw, then Thursday Night SmackDown, then Friday Night SmackDown, then
Right.
I mean, wrestling is just and then AEW jumped into the TV business also, so they're on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and
Oh,
then you got YouTube, and if you miss something on Netflix or you miss something on TBS, you can go to YouTube and pull up the video. I mean, wrestling is just so it's not to me it's still special, but it's not as special as it used to be. And
right.
it's the numbers are starting to show. Wrestling's always been a roller coaster ride. It's always been on. It gets its highs and it gets its lows, and I think we're coming back to the lows.
Now, Rudy, would you say you mentioned something? We have Friday night, Monday night, Wednesday night, Saturday night. Go to CW. You got Tuesday night, not NXT. You got CW. You got WoW. You got all the women's wrestling stuff. A lot of things. And then, would you say the problem is the fan base? Because if you don't like this, they're mad at you over here. If you don't like this, they're mad at you over there. And I don't know if it's the promotion's faults more than that it is the fans' faults, because fans need to understand that if you're a fan, you're a fan, right? I mean,
True.
if you like the Chicago Bears and I don't like them, I'm not going to bash you because you like the Chicago Bears. I think that's what is happening in 2025, especially all these content creators, all these fans. They won't let you be a fan of what you want to be. So my go-to is, if I like the product, I like the product and I watch it. If I don't like it, I don't watch it. And that's my choice. So I just think
Yeah.
2025 was a saturation of negative attitudes towards each other around the wrestling community as far as fans go.
No, you're right. And then you add in AEW has a working agreement of some type with CMLL. Well, now WWE has a working agreement with, as I think, well, they bought the company. They have an agreement with AAA,
Yeah.
and
Like
so
yeah.
it's not just American. It's not just American wrestling. It's now it's bleeding over to Mexico, and there's Japan now, and so fans, and then the way the way the promotions present their products, it becomes our team against your team.
Yep.
Take for example, Jade Cargill. She was in AEW for a long time,
Yeah.
and she was their champion and big star and all this stuff. Well, then WWE takes her and doesn't come out and say it, but with their actions, they kind of said she's nobody. We're going to create her into somebody. Wherever she was before doesn't count, and so they put her off to the side for a while to get training. I mean, they never said that, but and the fans know that. But I mean, also if you know wrestling, you can make I mean, you can create a star any way you want. You can bury people any way you want. It's wrestling. It's not real. It's make believe. It's
Yeah.
the characters, the players, the individuals, they're not. They're all part of this puzzle. And like I said, the companies don't come out and say it, but they, with their actions, it's like, they could have brought, Jay Carter could have went to WWE and challenged all the women and beat them all, and carries this winning streak from AEW to WWE. And, I mean, you can do anything. It's just the way they present their stuff, and I think the fans see that. So the fans, they create, they start to have their favorite federation. It's you're going to be an AEW guy, or you're not you're going to be a WWF guy or WB guy, or you're not a fan, or and then it becomes we're better than you and you're better than us, and it just becomes like you said. I just watch wrestling. I don't care if it's John Moxley. I don't care if it's CM Punk. I don't care. I want to see a good wrestling match, and I want to see everybody do well.
Yep. Yep. So one of the biggest, I would say the biggest event in the wrestling business, not event or happening, was the passing of one of the greatest. I mean, we love him or hate him. That's where that fan base is, right? We love him or hate him. The passing of Hulk Hogan. That shook the wrestling world.
Yeah, that was another one.
That shook the wrestling world, and there's a lot of haters and there's a lot of people. I mean, for me, if I can share a quick story, for me, I think he was, set aside what Terry did. I'm saying what Hulk Hogan did for the business. For me, He saved the business when he walked down that aisle at Daytona Beach, Bash at the Beach, and dropped that leg on Macho Man Randy Savage, and was the third member of NWO. That, to me, shifted what I thought was a dying wrestling brand, or dying in wrestling, and it catapulted it to new levels. And that's where I started reliking wrestling. So when Hulk Hogan passed away, man, that really upset me. That really bothered me a lot, because he is an icon. Hulk Hogan will ever in my eyes be one of the best. Now,
sure,
the guy Terry, I don't get into that stuff. That's not for me to say, right? And that's
exactly.
It's not me. I thought, when we're talking wrestling, he was, for me, one of the greatest. And to see him pass away, man, that was incredible. Incredibly, it was heartbreaking, very heartbreaking.
For me, I was kind of following wrestling. I was kind of following outside of wrestling from the little bubble that I was in, which was Southwest Championship Wrestling. Yeah. And Hulk Hogan at that time was in the AWA, and he was just another one of the guys. And then when he went to WWF and did the Rock and Wrestling and Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff, that kind of changed the direction, the platform of professional wrestling. And then when he did the Rocky movie, man, at that time I was doing extra talent work for WWF.
Yeah.
And Hulk Hogan was the first guy, I think he was the first guy, period. But he was the first guy that I saw that had his own tour bus.
Okay.
And nobody was allowed in it. Nobody was allowed near it except for Vince McMahon and, a certain group of people. But I'd never seen anything like that. And Hulk Hogan was the first guy to, I'm not saying the other guys bowed down to him, like the Lion King or something, but everybody respected him. Everybody, acknowledged him. Everybody, and I'd never seen anything like that. I'd always, if Nick Bockwinkel showed up to the dressing room, guys would shake his hand. How are you doing, Nick? That type of stuff. Lou Thez would walk in the dressing room. The guys would stand up, shake his hand. How you doing, Lou? That type of, everybody showed their respect to the big name guys, but nothing like, Hulk Hogan. And you kind of had the feeling that he was somebody, he was somebody special, more special than Curt Hennig, more special than Macho Man, more special than Ted DiBiase. He was, he was the man. And Guys respected him. And then you hear the stories and stuff. Again, I don't know anything about Terry Bollea. I have no clue who that guy is. I've never gone drinking with Hogan. I've never been in the same room outside of an arena somewhere. I've never been anywhere, just hanging around. So I don't know the Terry Bollea guy. I don't know about the 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 words that he may have said or that he did say. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Right.
All I know is he made a lot of money for not just himself, but he made a lot of money for a lot of guys. It was back in the day, you got paid according to the attendance, and when Hogan was on top, when he was the main event guy, everybody got paid well. In fact, when WWE had a full roster, they did like 2 shows a night. And one show in, I don't know, we'll say New York, had Hulk Hogan as the main event. One show, I don't know, we'll say Randy Savage did the main event in Chicago. And the Hogan crew always got paid more than the Randy Savage crew. And guys would ask to get put on, to be added to the Hogan lineup because they got paid more.
Right.
I mean, that's what he meant to the business. And so when he switched over, that was a big deal. That shifted that was a big shift for WCW when he went to. The smartest thing Eric Bischoff did was bring Hulk Hogan in.
Absolutely.
I mean, WCW was doing well with Kevin Nash and all the guys they brought in before, but when they brought Hulk Hogan in, that kind of like raised a bunch of eyebrows and caught a lot of people's attention. And then that began the 83 weeks or whatever of WCW.
Yeah.
And so, his passing, to me, his passing was, it was a significant thing. There was meaning behind it. There, it was, again, like I said, I've never had any kind of dealings with Hulk Hogan outside of arena, but reading some of the comments that I saw was hurtful. And I'm sure the comments he made were hurtful to people also.
Right.
But I've always been able to separate the wrestling guy from the everyday guy. I mean, you got to. Especially a lot of guys. Whoever they are in the wrestling world, completely different person than what they are in the real world. And you got to, if you, I'm not saying to say you got to, but it would be well if you were able to separate those people. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. Because at the end of the day, right? He was a husband. He was a dad. At the end of the day, and so I just thought that was a significant happening in 2025. So,
right.
What's next on your list, man?
My list is John Cena.
John
Cena. Retiring from wrestling, man. I always say you never retire from wrestling. You just stop doing it. But John Cena was at a different level. So like around 2000, I don't know, 2010, I don't know. It's been a while. I was talking to Lance Cade, and Lance was working for WWE, WWF, whatever. And he came to my gym, we worked out and stuff. And afterwards we're talking, and somehow or another we started talking about John Cena. And I just didn't get the shorts and the sneakers and the thugonomic stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, I don't remember how I came about it, but I mentioned to Lance about how in the world are they pushing this guy? And Lance said, "Hey, man, when it's 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we're finishing up a show on the East Coast. John has to rush to his hotel room, and he does an interview or radio or call in whatever to a radio station or whoever in England. He's on there for an hour, and then he goes to bed. He gets up at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, gets his workout in at the gym, catches the first flight out to whatever the next city is. He goes to make his Make-A-Wish, appearances, and then he's back at the arena at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock to get ready for the show. And that's what he does every day.
Wow.
Nobody else wants to do that. They've asked guys, I forgot what names he mentioned. He says they've asked this guy, they've asked that guy, they've asked this guy, that guy, that guy. Nobody wants to do it. Maybe they'll do it once or twice, and then but John will do it all the time.
Wow.
And then, lo and behold, not long after that, it was reported that John Cena was like the number one requested personality for the Make-A-Wish group.
Wow.
And he's just always, the stories that you hear now about him helping out talent and stuff like that, the kids, the younger kids. What I understand, I don't know John. I've met him a couple of times, but I don't know him that well. But I'm just going by what I've been told. Is he's always been the guy to help the younger guys out. He's always been the guy to try and make the product better. He's always been a company man. So yeah, when it was time for him to hang it up, they gave him this year-long goodbye. And some of the stuff they did for him, though, he didn't ask for. And from what I understand, the way the Saturday Night Main Event show was put together it was his idea to bring in the NXT kids to work that show with some older guys, with the older talent, the more established guys, to get that rub, to get that notice, because he knew that it was his last match, and so the Saturday Night Main Event was going to get a lot of viewers. And so what better time to get people to get your eyes on somebody than to put the younger talent on Saturday Night Main Event?
Absolutely.
And that was just the guy he was. That, from what I've been told. Again, I've never met him. I've met him a couple of times, but I mean, I don't know him that well. I'm just going by what I've been told. But everybody respects him. Everybody loved him.
Yep.
The traditional way of wrestling reared its ugly head that night. And I honestly thought, because I'd been told the last several years, well, it's 2025, the old ways are done. Those are dinosaur beliefs and all that stuff. Well, the last match for John Cena, he lost his match. Yeah. And everyone expected him to win. That's not how it's done.
Right.
And I know my daughter was sitting here on the couch with us, and she wasn't bawling like a baby, but you saw the tears coming out of her eyes because John Cena lost, and that's just not, that's not supposed to happen, but it did.
Right, man. I can remember the Elimination Chamber when he turned heel. Right. I was so dude. I was so mad. I was furious. I hated that. I hated the thought for 3 days straight. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was horrible. And then all of a sudden, good.
Something told me that wasn't going to last, though.
Right, but but it was genius. I didn't realize that he had his hands in this whole thing. It went the way he wanted it to go, and the matches that he had with Cody Rhodes. My favorite week-long thing was the match leading up to CM Punk. he even brought back the pipe bomb that CM Punk dropped years and years ago, right? And he turned it into a promo against Punk. They had everything that you could imagine as being everything John Cena would want, right? He faced them all. And then this last match on Saturday's main event that you were just talking about, John Cena wanted to rub these young bucks, right? I even think he passed the torch to Gunther, right? At first, I didn't like the ending. I'll be honest, Rudy. I hated the ending. I thought, oh my God, that was so weak. But after talking to my brother and people, you know, in the wrestling community, that's what John wanted.
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, dude, I'm done. You know, I thought the tap could have been, but it was like, you know, it's like a like tap. And I was like, that's so. But now after talking, it makes so much sense. John Cena is saying, my time is up. Your time is now.
Right.
And he's saying to Gunther, goodbye. You win it. I'm good. I'm going home. I'm good with my career. It just spoke volumes about how John felt about how he left the business, how he ended his career. He was fine with it. That's what he wanted to do. And hey, man, if we can't tilt our hats to him for doing that, we're horrible fans because he went out the way he wanted to go out.
There was so much talk afterwards of him smiling at the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think at the end of the day, you know, and I'm saying this on the podcast, it can go all over the world. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's not real. We're telling stories. We are bringing enjoyment to the fans. Today, the fans know more than they've ever known. So, and then with that being said, as I said earlier, as older guys, Rikishi and a lot of guys have gotten so comfortable talking about wrestling in the open on social media. But now they're going to make a big deal because John Cena smiled at the end of his match. He tapped out and smiled. So what? He's finished. He's done. He's saying thank you. Like you said, he's saying thank you. I've enjoyed the run. He's showing appreciation to the fans. You know, I mean, he like you said, he went out on his terms, 100%. And you know, I can only wish that, because I haven't retired yet, I can only wish I could have a final match, a final ending like that. Yeah. You know, but it'll never happen. I completely respect what he did and how he did it and the way he did it. And I mean, that was, it was, and then he took I kind of laughed because I've seen guys retire, you know, and you know, I mean, Ric Flair retired 15 times. Some guys say, I mean, on the indie scene, it's worse. Guys say they retire and then they're back wrestling in 6 months. But when they retire, they leave their boot in the ring. You know, when I retire, I'm leaving my boots on and I'm walking out of the ring, and I'll take my boots off in the dressing room. I'm not going to leave them in the middle of the ring. I thought it was kind of funny. John left his sneakers in the middle of the ring. You know, it's like, all right, that's what he wears. So, okay. And then I think at a closer look, they were Skechers. They're like $20 shoes. You know, it's like, wow. Okay. But it is what it is, man. You know, he did it right. He did it right.
He did, you know, and we talked about the smile, you know. At first that bothered me, but I'm like, you know what? John is happy. He fulfilled what he thought his career should be. And so what if he smiled? Who cares? Goodbye. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we had another swerve out of in the wrestling in WWE. Paul Heyman, man. Paul Heyman, one of the best, if not the best, on the mic. How he swerved and joined Seth Rollins, and everybody was so in tune with that whole thing. Is he going to go with CM Punk? Is he going to go with Roman Reigns? Who's he going to screw over? But like you said earlier, the social media is so jacked up. We all knew that he was going to turn on those guys and join Seth Rollins. We all knew that. And that's what's sad about this wrestling in 2025. There's so much social media. And that's, I'll be honest, if I can be honest with you, Rudy, 2025, me watching WWE, I didn't watch a lot of it because you knew what was going to happen 3 days before the show, and I don't know, but that swerve was amazing. That swerve was well done. And then I think I think somewhere it faltered or fizzled out, but that turn was another big moment in wrestling, when Paul Heyman joined Seth Rollins in the Vision.
So John Cena turned on Cody.
Yep.
Paul Heyman turned.
The Wyatt Six debuted.
John Cena tapped out. Right?
Yep.
What was the combinator in Cena turning on Cody, Paul Heyman turning, and then John Cena tapping out? What was the common denominator? What was the common thing all three of them had or didn't have?
That's a good question.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Yep.
And that wasn't on the internet. It wasn't. There weren't leaks. Nobody knew that John Cena was going to turn on Cody. Nobody knew that John Cena was going to lose his last match. There was speculation,
right?
But nobody knew. Nobody really knew what Paul Heyman was going to do. There was speculation,
right?
But nobody knew, and that's the beauty of that is the beauty of pro wrestling, is that you do whatever you want to do. Just don't, if you want a real reaction, which is what we do, is try and get reactions out of the fans. Don't tell them,
right?
Don't tell them. If you want to surprise your wife with, a diamond ring, are you going to tell her, hey, honey, I'm going to come home tonight with a diamond ring, but you're not supposed to know about it? That doesn't make no sense.
No, that makes sense.
So, and I think that also, I think that also contributes to the lack, the attendance or the viewership or whatever dropping, because you don't have to watch Netflix. You don't have to, you just read the internet.
Right.
There's more excitement, more drama on the internet than there is at the wrestling show, on TV. Yeah. So my part, the way I see it is, stop telling the fans.
Right.
Stop telling them. Stop. Like, I'll answer some questions. Even with you, I'll answer some questions you may have. I won't answer others, because, not to be rude or ugly, but no one needs to know. Right. When it comes out, it'll come out, and everybody will like, oh my God, that was so great. But nobody will say, oh, I knew that because Rudy said it on Drop the Mic the other day.
Right.
That's not how we work.
I mean, another surprise that's, like you said, we're talking about now nobody knowing, right? No one knew MJF was going to come back a week ago.
There you go.
That was shock. That was one of the best. And he had a promo from, oh my God, he didn't miss a beat. That guy is so much fire. I mean, he is, man. And I used to hate the guy, but now I understand what a heel does. And no one knew he was coming back. Then he signed that contract. He won the match at World's End. Now, he did it kind of shady. He took advantage of, but he's MJF, right?
He's a bad guy.
He did bad guy stuff, and he reclaimed his triple B, and that's what he came for. And that was a shock to a lot of people.
I did I was supposed to do a thing with AEW last January of 24
Okay.
or 23. It's been a while. And it involved MJF. And I got to the building. I met with one of the producers, Pat Buck or something. And then MJF came around and he said, "Hey, you know what we're doing?" I said, "Yeah." And we talked for 10 minutes, I guess. He's the nicest guy, though. I mean, he is,
Really?
whatever you see. And I know I'm blowing his cover, but I mean, gee, I was just completely, because on TV, what you see is this jerk, man, this arrogant prick, and I just, if a guy can, I figure if a guy gets that much heat, he must be a real, jerk in the back also.
Right.
But man, that was a complete opposite. We talked, and he is the nicest guy, man. He is so down to earth and so easy to talk to. I mean, he was a really, really, really nice guy, and he just wanted to make sure everything I was cool with everything and what have you, and 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 then it didn't happen at all. Everything fell through. So, and he apologized. Hey, man, I'm sorry. Whatever. And so when I see him on TV, knowing what I know, gives my opinion of him that much higher because he's such a God. I mean, he's such an effing prick on TV,
Yep.
just a complete. But in the back, I mean, and in person, he's a heck of a guy, and that just speaks to how good of a worker he is, how good of a talent he is. Like a guy like, I don't know, we'll say like Tully Blanchard. Whatever you see on TV with Tully Blanchard, that's Tully Blanchard. That's who he is.
Right.
But MJF is, I mean, different dude, completely different deal.
100%. I mean, yeah, that was. Let me see what else I got. AJ Lee, man, returning.
Yep, that was another one.
Yeah.
But the thing with that, I mean, that was cool too. But again, there were leaks here and there that she was in the building and she was at the airport and she was, at the bus station or whatever. And so you kind of knew it, but it was still a surprise, though. It was still very cool to see.
Yep. What else I have down here? Do you watch World's End?
I didn't. I've seen some clips over the last couple of days, mainly of the bumps some of the kids were taking.
Yeah.
On their heads and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Moxley, everybody was bitching all year long about how much blood Moxley pours out. Blood. They hate Moxley because he does this. They hate Moxley because he does that. Moxley was more of a face in the match. He won. He won the prestigious AEW Continental Classic tournament. He defeated Kata, and but it wasn't a bad bloody match. It was pure wrestling, and it was amazing to see. And I just think that was a huge moment as well in professional wrestling. How to end WWF or E ends their big thing with John Cena's retirement match. AEW does their World's End with Moxley winning the belt and MJF winning his title. That was amazing stuff. I don't remember my buddy. He's playing John Cena. You can't see me. So, but those were some good AEW moments to end the year. Of course, we could talk about the Wyatt Six and their highly anticipated return. That was pretty cool. The backstage thing with the Wyatt Six, how they were reinvented after we lost Bray Wyatt a year before or whatever. Right. But Bo is doing an amazing job with that that whole storyline. I mean, Carmella Hayes. I mean, we could talk, but there's one dude I want to talk about that it hurts my stomach to say this, but we cannot go this show without talking about the dirty one, Dominic Mysterio. I mean,
I think he raised his game this year. I heard people talk about him being the top guy towards the end of 24, and I just didn't see it. Nothing against. I mean, I know Dominic and his dad, and the whole deal and stuff. Nothing against him at all. Just I just didn't see it. But as we've gone along through the year, he's doing really good, and I mean, I'm proud of him. I mean, he's the guy right now.
Cutting great promos, doing well in AAA, doing well as the asshole for his faction in WWE. He is the epitome of a great heel.
Yeah. Yep.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
And I've heard guys when he first came around, because he didn't go through developmental. He went straight to SmackDown or Raw, whatever it was. He didn't go through developmental. He didn't go through NXT. And I heard guys, trying to ridicule him and talk about nepotism and he's only there because of his dad and yada yada yada. And up to a point that can be true, but you have, given the time that he's been around, you can't say that anymore. I mean, he's become his own person. Like when Bryan Danielson and Brian Kendrick and those guys got signed to WWE years ago,
right?
A lot of guys said they got signed because of Shawn, and maybe they did. I don't know, but 25 years later, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, he's still, and he's not even in WWE anymore. He's in AEW.
Right.
The Shawn Michaels, shadow doesn't hold ground no more. Brian Kendrick is still working. Paul London is still working. Paul was never at Shawn's school, but I mean, you can say these guys are only doing this because so and so, but after a while though, they start running on their own. Dominic Mysterio is running on his own, and he's being productive. His dad's Rey Mysterio, that doesn't hold water anymore. Now he's doing it on his own merit. Right. So he's doing he did remarkable in 2025, and I see. I may be stepping out. Maybe I'm overdoing this, but I see him getting the world belt, one of the world titles in 26. I can see it happening.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He's a heel. I can't get behind him. I applaud him for what he's doing. He's making big strides. He's taken the character that they have given him and ran with it, took the ball and ran, and he's doing wonderful things. You can't deny that. At the end of the day, I can't deny that. At the end of the day, I cannot deny that he's a great performer.
I'd like to see a few matches with him and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And him and Cody.
Yep.
And somewhere in there, I mean, what I like about WWE is right now is that, and I tell Micah this all the time. I knew Randy's dad. I worked with him a couple of times. I knew Dusty. I know Ray. I worked with Rikishi a few times and Tonga Kid, and the whole bloodline deal. I know they're the older generation. some of the lucha guys that are there. I wrestled with their dads. Santo Escobar. I wrestled with his dad several times in Mexico.
Okay.
Angel Garza. I wrestled with his cousin or uncle
Right.
when I was in Mexico. I mean, I know, and it's cool. It's cool to know their dads and Raquel Rodriguez. I wrestled her dad here in Texas. And last time I saw her before she started training with me, last time I saw her, she was about 11 years old, and she was, not even up to my shoulders. And now I'm not even up to her shoulders.
Oh,
She's
no.
gotten so big and she's doing well.
Right.
So I'm happy for those guys. I'm happy for all those kids that are on TV. I hope they
Absolutely.
continue their whatever it is that they're doing.
Yep. You named a name, and it sparked something that I've often wanted. I'm going to ask you. You're in the business, so I'm going to ask the guy that's in the business. The stage is set. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre in the ring. They were doing that promo. The setup for in Berlin, and Drew McIntyre says, "I want to get us 3 stages of hell match." And he says, "When I send you through the 3rd stage of hell, say hi to your dad for me." He brought family in it. Now, my question I wrote down here is personal story, personal family drama. Does that cross the lines? Or when they do this, because obviously we've already said this, it's fake. Now, when they do this, are both part, because that's some pretty bullshit statements that people make. Tell your dad, Dusty, I said hello. Or whatever he said. How are these wrestling Cody Rhodes? Did they come up with this shit? Or is this something WWE gave these guys to go to the ring with? Because that's personal.
Sure. I mean, and I say this to a lot of guys. This is a whole different deal. You have to be comfortable doing stuff like that. You have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand what we're doing. So how do you think Charlotte felt? I don't remember who. It might have been Becky Lynch. I don't remember who it was when they brought up Charlotte's brother that overdosed.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Exactly.
I think, I mean, man, that's a touchy subject, but I'm almost sure that I remember who it was. It may have been Becky Lynch, but I'm almost sure there was some kind of agreement where, is it okay if I bring this up? Sure, go ahead. Or, hey, why don't you bring this up? Are you sure? Yeah, go right ahead. I mean, like from what I understand, years ago, Sean brought up the Sunny Days promo with Bret Hart, and that was Sean being Sean, and Bret had no idea that was coming.
Really?
And so, yeah, the story that I heard was there was hell to pay at home for Bret because, the wife and kids saw that and they weren't expecting it. And so when Bret got home, whoo, and that's where there was a big fight with Sean and Bret after that.
Right.
And Sean, Sean's mentioned, well, I was just trying to be funny. I was just trying to spark up something. I was just trying to, he didn't do it maliciously. Maybe he did. I don't know. I wasn't there. But,
Right.
To me, when you go into stuff like that, when you go into, like Tully Blanchard did a promo with Conan at AEW. And The rumor is Tully's a very is very racist,
Okay.
and the story is that Tessa is racist. And so Tully made a comment to Tully in an interview, in a promo in the middle of the ring at a show. I think Tessa was with somebody, Daga or one of the Lucha guys. Not he was in AEW, but Tessa was living in Mexico, and I think she was with Daga or one of the Lucha guys or something. And Conan made a comment to Tully about Mexican wrestlers, and you're going to have a Mexican running around the house if you're not careful pretty soon, or something like that. And Tully just like looked at him. I don't know if, and Tully's a heck of a worker too, man. He knows his stuff. I don't know if that was discussed before or not, but Tully had this weird look on his face, and Conan has a habit of saying stuff, just blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, stuff like that, man. I would imagine you would have to get some kind of agreement, some kind of, but it's happened with Cody before. Like Roman Reigns brought up Dusty. I mean, I think Roman Reigns said something like, I was your father's favorite son.
Right.
Or something, and if someone told me that with my dad, man, I would lose it, but I mean, Cody, I guess he's comfortable with stuff like that because it's been done before. Yeah. But man, that's tough though. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that they would just do it off the cuff. Just, hey, I'm gonna make a comment about Dusty and not tell Cody, because that's some tough stuff.
Well, even with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk with that whole bracelet thing, that got very personal. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God.
But to me, okay, so when I saw that, I'm a firm believer, being in the business, I'm a firm believer that you can create heat, you can create interest, you can create whatever you want with anything. And so, they created interest in that bracelet. Yes. And people were like, oh my God, and they made a story about it. They made a story about the deal that Roman Reigns wore around his neck. I don't know what it's called, so I'm not going to try. But they made a big deal about that. And to me, it was just a necklace, but it became a big part of the storyline. It became, because they made it that way. You can make whatever you want. If you do it properly, you can make whatever you want, be it as significant as you want, as long as you do it properly, and they did. Absolutely. So, yeah, the thing with Drew McIntyre and the bracelet with CM Punk, yeah, I thought that was cool as shit.
It was cool. I mean, I enjoy, because when you do personal stuff like that, it makes you, as a fan, believe. That's the big word, right? You guys make us believe that it's personal, that's family, that is what we live. And I think if there's one thing WWE hit a home run in, is making us believe in some of these storylines that they brought it personal.
You have to. So rule number one is with everybody is you have to make some kind of connection with the fans. So Stone Cold was always shooting the bird at Vince McMahon, and Stone Cold was very anti-establishment and fighting the boss. And a lot of people out there, one of the reasons why he got over so much was because a lot of people out there that are working for whoever dislike their boss, and they really wish they could, the boss can say, "Hey, you're staying late for overtime," and a lot of people, I'm sure, want to shoot the finger at him because, man, I got plans, I want to go home, or you're working Saturday, or I'm going to the amusement park with my family. A lot of people can connect with that and can be angry at their bosses. Understand, Steve Austin's anger with his boss. um, there isn't a person in the audience that can hear, Drew McIntyre say, tell your dad in hell for me. There's not a person, man, woman, child that believes their dad is in hell. And, that's the most shittiest thing can say, so they can connect with that. What would you do if someone told you, Scott, tell your dad, I said, tell your dad when you see him in hell, tell your dad I said hello. What would you think?
I'd come.
What would I think? Man, I don't
I'd be.
don't yeah, exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever be I know, well, I could ever be at that level, because I could not tolerate if somebody came up and said, "Hey, Rudy, we're going to talk about your dad." No, you're not. Hey, Rudy, we're going to talk about your kids. Like, would you agree to a storyline or some kind of storyline where, hey, Scott, you're going to have a match with Rudy, but we're going to tell the audience that your son is really Rudy's son. How would you feel about that? And maybe at some point, Rudy slept with your wife. What?
Yeah.
That's not going to work, man. That's
not
with me anyway.
No.
But Ray and Eddie knew that would generate some kind of interest,
right.
And so, all right, let's do it.
Yep.
You to be able to agree to stuff like that, you have to understand. I mean, thoroughly understand how this business is, and how the fans react, how the fans work. You have to. If there's any kind of if you have any kind of like me, I'm not going to do that. You're not getting it.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at last year. I mean, one of the best promos was the same kind of thing when everybody was talking MJF's going to come to WWE, and then MJF comes in on a Wednesday Dynamite and he goes off on Tony Khan. And you remember that one? Remember Tony Khan had to understand. He understands the business. A lot of people say Tony Khan's a joke. This proved to me that he understands the business. He was okay with the storyline, and he's okay with his now champion again running his mouth, creating heat, because that's what drew money. That's what everybody wanted to come back the next Wednesday for. Why? Because we want to see what MJF's going to say on the mic. That's what I watched AEW for.
I got to watching the AEW what do they call scrums after the matches.
Okay.
I would watch those just to watch CM Punk talk noise about Tony Khan.
Right.
And then watch Tony Khan's reaction.
Yes.
And it was like if my employee was talking to me the way CM was talking about Tony, he'd be fired,
Right. Yeah.
No storyline. You're fired. That's what you feel. I mean, you have to. And it can extend to your family also. I mean, so talking about Dominic, I guess Liz Morgan's his girlfriend or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. They kiss on TV.
Yep.
Hug each other.
Yep.
She jumps on him.
Yep.
How do you think Dominic's wife at home feels about that?
She's okay with it because she knows the business, right?
Exactly. But you know what? Micah knows the business too. Yes. If that was me, there would be a missing persons report.
Mike would be beating some ass. What she'd be doing?
Oh my God, man! I wouldn't see New Year's. I would be, we'd be talking. You'd be talking about me, not showing up on pop, on Huge Pop Entertainment. Drop the mic, whatever. I don't know where Rudy is this week, but
I ain't gonna share that with you. No, one of my biggest disappointments. Now, before I want to open these things for people, but I could not get behind why we brought Brock Lesnar back. That's one of my biggest things. I'm like, I didn't understand it. I don't get it. I don't like it. Maybe you have a brain of the business. You can tell me why I should like it, but I don't like it. It didn't make any sense to me.
Brock brings legitimacy to the program. I mean, he's an actual badass. He's a real fighter. He brings legitimacy. Um, Other than that, I mean, um, he draws tickets. And that's the name of the game. You put him. I mean, there's some good matches. I'm sure that they want to put together with Brock and Cody, Brock and Drew, Brock and Randy Orton, Brock and Roman Reigns. I mean, there's some marquee matches still out there. Brock and Jey Uso. There's so I mean, and again, it may not make sense to me and you, but there's something going on, behind the curtain, and it's not for us to know. It's just, when it does happen, though. I mean, if it's, I'm sure we're going to be here the next week. Oh my God, did you see what Brock Lesnar did?
Right, right.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Is there anything else you have of huge moments before I open up these things that and talk about that part of the show?
Yeah, really quick, a huge moment, and talking about the happenings of 2025. So this past weekend, two young ladies from here in Texas, Hyan and Maya World, got signed to AEW, and a lot of speculation, a lot of talk. They got signed because two other girls didn't want to do a job or didn't want to do this last month or October or whatever. They did it, and so they're being rewarded for it. Whatever the case is, I don't care. I don't know Maya that well. I know she's from Texas, and I know she's been around here and there. I've seen some stories about her. I know Hyan a little bit better. Hyan is very talented. She's been around for a while. She's been, to Japan. She's done some traveling. She's an international star, I guess. I mean, so at the end of the year, starting a brand new year, they went from the indies making whatever they make, $75, $100. We'll say $200 a show to, I don't know. I guess they're now in the $75,000 a year range. I don't know, $100,000 a year. I don't know, but I'm happy for them. Right. What a way to end the year! What a way to start the year for them. This is just another step in their journey, and I hope right. There's plenty more, for them in the future.
What was their names again?
Hyan, it's a Hyan, I believe. Hyan. Okay. Her last name is Olvera, Olvera, and then Maya World is Maya, and then World like WORLD. Okay. Couple Texas girls, good girls though.
How do they come through your school at all, or?
No, Hyan, I believe, started off at Booker T's, and Maya came in through a group up in Dallas.
Okay.
Hold on real quick. Hold on.
All right. So a lot of stuff happened on Huge Pop. That Huge Pop Entertainment's covered. Man, we've seen a lot in the 2025. Hopefully, it's a lot of stuff to come in 2026. Everybody's back.
So yeah, so it's. I mean, they've come up the old way. I mean, they've done their travels and paid their dues, and gone through up and downs and stuff like that, and here they are. You know, right place, right time for those girls.
Absolutely. So has Micah, has she ever faced any of those girls?
Micah's worked with high end, and she's only worked with she's only met Maya at a show somewhere.
Wow, that's impressive though. That's really impressive. So,
Yep.
um, I don't know if anybody knows a little bit about me, but I am a foster parent, and we care for 9 children in the emergency shelter. Last year, and we have 30 kids on our campus. Last year, we had our first Royal Rumble bash, and you would have thought that these kids would have hated wrestling, but at the end of the day, that they were the most excited people that I've ever. That it was just a blast to see their reactions of these young kids, and so this year we're doing another Royal Rumble party. So I reached out to some of the indie people. I know Rudy knows probably both. I know he knows one of them. But I got a package from Nikki Fuego.
Nikki Fuego.
I just want to open this to show you, and I want to give Nikki a props and I thank her. Thank you, Nikki. If you're going to watch this, I'll send a copy to you. You sent me things that I'm sure are going to get to the kiddos. We're going to do drawings, and she signed some stuff, and I'm having a hard time getting in there. There we go. So I'm just going to show off the things that she sent. So she sent this.
There you go.
Yep. She sent this.
There you go. From River City Wrestling Con.
Yep. So it looks like there's a lot here. So every kid, and she says, Nikki Fuego, light your own world, light your own fire. Keep the fuego burning. This young lady, she didn't have to do this. And the fact that she did this is amazing. And then she sent some trading cards.
There you go.
Yeah. So super thankful. Pretty cool. So that's one of the people that did that. Then there's a Phoenix Wrestling Association. They reached out and they sent. They sent a flashlight.
There you go. Cool.
On it, with the logo. A PFP a baseball hat with their logo. Right. Another baseball hat with their logo.
Nice.
So it's Phoenix Pro Wrestling. There's some stickers. These are all things that are going to go to these kiddos at this Royal Rumble party. And a couple T-shirts.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so I just wanted to take the chance and tell them thank you.
Is that Phoenix Pro Wrestling out of California?
Where'd this come from? No, it came from. I don't know where this came from. To be honest with you.
I know a Phoenix Pro Wrestling out of California somewhere.
Okay. I just want to take a moment and tell these guys, this is how fun this year has been for us here at Huge Pop Entertainment. And I want to say, if I don't want to step on Rudy's toes, but I would like to say thank you to the guy that's sitting next to me, Rudy. It was 12 o'clock at night conversation. Maybe not that late. It seemed like that late, and I responded to a post that you posted. We started chatting. And I was like, you know what? What the hell? I'm going to ask this guy if he wants to do a podcast. I think he said to me, I think Rudy says to me, I did one before, but the host didn't do something or something. And we didn't get along. It didn't work out. There was too much to do. If you want to take care of uploading the stuff to YouTube, if you want to take care of this, and this, I'll do this. And Rudy shows up every Monday. I tell my wife this all the time. I have a show on Monday and I have a show on Wednesday. And I don't have to get the guests. You guys bring the guests. You guys find the guests. And it hasn't been disappointing once, And I have to say this, Rudy, like 3 weeks ago, I was having a rough time and Rudy made a statement, and it kind of, if you took it, I at first took it the wrong way, and I was like, oh, well, that he makes complete sense. The statement, Rudy, I don't know if you remember, was we have to start being consistent. Remember that?
I do.
And I was a little bitchy. My response at first was a little bitchy, if you remember that.
I do.
But at the end of the day, I think we finished the conversation with, I thanked you for being honest. I thank you for being honest. I thank you for not giving up. And I think we agreed to do a 2026, did we not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huge Pop Wrestling Entertainment, Huge Pop Entertainment. I don't know if we've got to work on a title for Monday or drop the mic's okay. I don't know. But man, Rudy, I want to say thank you for making, I think we've been doing this for six months now.
I think so. It doesn't seem that long, but it might be.
Might be.
Yeah, you were going through a tough time. Your wife was going through a tough time.
Yeah.
I get it, and but I know you want this to work, and of course I do, and it's I tell this to my students also, man. If you want things to work, there's always going to be an obstacle. There's always going to be something that's going to prevent us from doing
right.
And if you want to do it bad enough, and I feel that with you, if you want to do it bad enough, we'll I'm here. I'm on your side, man. Yeah, if you need to take a day off to take care of your wife and do what you got to do, by all means, but to make this work, and I want it to work,
right?
I'll do my part with whatever I can,
yep.
But yeah, we have to be consistent, and again, but life happens,
yep.
And I totally get that,
and I appreciate you.
I'm hoping for a successful 2026, and the guests that we're using are people that I know that have good stories to tell, and have a lot to talk about.
Yep.
And I'm sure within the next 52 weeks we'll get bigger,
Yep. And I'm excited because in June, my wife has said we're going to go to St. Augustine in June, and finally I get to meet the Rudy boy.
I'll sit right next to you, and I'll bring you Micah to the table, and I'll bring you my daughter Ivy. I'll bring you, whoever you need to talk to, I can get a hold of, and we'll make it happen, man.
Man, I'm excited about that, and I'm excited for 2026. I'll finish the story by saying thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I can't wait to hear who we find for next Monday. Tell Micah thank you for putting up with my texting and stuff. I know let's be real. She's important. We got to give our wives that praise, and I have a beautiful wife that supports me all the time. And
what do they say? Happy wife, happy life.
That's what they say. I mean, before we go, I gotta medals off to a 2026 full of great interviews for you guys. Thank you, Jacinto. Thank you so much.
That's Nicky Fuego's father.
Okay, thank you, Nicky Fuego's father. I appreciate it. Man, I hope you see the things that I hope you
That's the Fuego. That's the real Fuego behind the Nicky Fuego.
So I tell your daughter I'm gonna send this to you. Thank you for these. My kids will love them. I cannot wait to see their faces. I'll be sending pictures of the party. It's gonna be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. If that's everything, Rudy, I thank you again for coming on. Thank you again for having the idea to do a review of the year. That was all Rudy. Again, Rudy came up with the idea. And I appreciate I've told my wife I've been blessed to have the co-hosts that I have. You know, I have my brother, I have you, I have my my brother. I don't know. Rico and I are grandfathers to the same grandchildren. So we have a show, and I have another guy, Bill Struthers. I have been blessed to be surrounded by a team that makes Huge Pop Entertainment what it is.
Likewise.
And everybody hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, bring the follows, bring the subscribes, and let's go crazy in 2026.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man. So if that's in agreement with everybody, we're Huge Pop Entertainment, and we're for life.